Welcome back to day 20, the 100 horror films in 31 days. Over the halfway point, and I'm almost at 100 films. I should break 100 films on the 22nd, 21st, 22nd. I got in 6 films today. First up is 2011's The Rite. Anthony Hopkins plays a priest who specializes in exorcisms, and he meets up. Well, basically, he has his seminary student that's sent to him because the seminary student's losing his faith, and the church sends him to Hopkins to try to help him refine his faith through watching these exorcisms. It was directed by a Swedish director, Michael Hofstrom, who did 1408. It's a good movie. I mean, it's a little slow in parts, and I think towards the end, Anthony Hopkins gives us another kind of a Silence of the Lambs type. You know, he when he goes kind of nuts, he's basically repeats himself. I mean, a little bit. I guess another way to describe it is he's a bit hammy towards the end of it. But yeah, I thought it was a good film. I give it a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I mean, it's not. It's a thoughtful exorcist film. All right, next up is I'm watching so many. I gotta check. I gotta go look at Letterbox to see what I've got here. Yeah, let's talk about Engine Trouble, which is also known as Junior. 2002. It's a shot on Shitio film. That was part of that horror 8 set that I've got. I don't even want to show it. It's total garbage. It's 1 out of 10. To give you an idea, you've got a woman that her car breaks down, and the killer is near and around the car, shaking the car, and it had to go. I didn't time it, but it was long, at least 5 minutes. I should go back and see how long the sequence was because he was just shaking the car for 5 minutes. I mean, it's just total shit. This guy directed by I think he's a Belgium director, Mark Ickx, Ickx. Ix. That's the only thing he ever did, and I hope it remains that way because it's a shitty film. It's a piece of crap. I give it a 2 out of 10. No, I give it a 1 out of 10. It doesn't even deserve two. Next up, 1993's The Body Snatchers, or Body Snatchers. That's the Abel Ferrara version of Body Snatchers, which I was really looking forward to. It stars Meg Tilly. Um, I'd never seen it before. It's a first time watch, and I was tremendously disappointed. Unfortunately, I love some of Abel Ferrara's films. I think he's done some fantastic, edgy stuff, but Body Snatchers just felt like a lifeless crap. I mean, I would have never known if someone said guess the director on this. I would have never guessed Abel Ferrara, as edgy as he is with Drill a Killer and some of his other avant-garde stuff he's done. This is just a Hollywood glossy. It just without any kind of feeling. It's nothing. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, it's not a badly made film. It's just a lifeless film. Body Snatchers. I mean, the other problem, I think it's more the script than Abel Ferrara. I mean, nothing happens for well over half the movie, and then by then you're so bored, and it's just the character. You just don't care about any of the characters either. I don't know if that's poor casting or what, but nobody in this film was compelling to watch. It just wasn't very good. I give it a 5 out of 10. It's technically not bad. It just kind of goes through. It's like, oh well, it's done and over with, and I don't ever have to watch that again. Next up is 1977 Deathbed, The Bed That Eats. Now this is another film that I'd never seen before, and I've heard a lot about it. George Barry directed this, and it is what this title describes. It's a bed that eats people. Shot in '72. It didn't come out until '77. Apparently, it was a labor of love. It's a very artsy, esoteric horror film centered around the concept of a bed that eats people. You have to see it to believe it. I mean, but it's very good. It's a low budget independent film, but it's very good. It's intriguing. I actually went ahead and ordered the Blu-ray of it because I want to listen to the audio commentary track and try to get some background on this. Because if you look at it, all of the people that are involved in this, I mean, they didn't really do anything else. It's kind of, they were, for the most part, well, there's a few people. William Russ was in a number of films, but like all the females in the film, it was kind of a one and done deal. And for George Barry, apparently this was a one and done deal. So, yeah, it's a really, really mysterious and interesting film. It's not going to be for everybody, I'll tell you that. Anyway, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Next up, we're going to talk about Black Magic Part 2. Wow, this is a Shaw Brothers film. 1976, 77. Where do I start with this? Ho Ming Hua directed this, and he did The Mighty Peking Man too. He's done he's directed a lot of films. I think he did The Oily Maniac too. This is just batshit crazy. It's just like the first film as far as the craziness. Basically, you've got this shaman. It starts out. I mean, the first opening scene. You've got a woman eaten by an alligator, and the shaman cuts the alligator out, stomach open, so he can retrieve one of the objects of the dead woman's, like a bracelet. And that kind of sets the stage for the movie, because basically what he's doing is he's figured out a way to make himself young again through black magic. And he can raise corpses by using the artifacts from the corpse, along with blood and other potions to raise the dead. And then, of course, he sells his services, his love potion services, to other people for money. But then, of course, he entwines them in his evil magic. You've got one of the love potions he puts together requires a woman's pubic hair. He takes that. What he does is in order to remain young, he needs woman's milk. So he takes this woman's pubic hair in a potion, makes her drink it, and then her milk has some kind of magical powers that he can drink from it and remain young. It's just a batshit crazy film. It really is. You've got masonry nails that are driven into these people's skulls, the corpses' skulls. If you take the masonry nail out, they die. They're reanimated as long as the masonry nail is in the skull. So it's some Shaw Brothers craziness. All I can tell you. 7 out of 10. Great watch. I definitely got to check out the audio commentary on it. It's some crazy shit. It really is. Next up, we're going to talk about Beyond Darkness. And actually, this is the last title. Claudio Fragassi's Gates of Hell movie, also known as La Casa 5. Interesting thing about this was shot at the same house that The Beyond was shot by Fulci, which is basically in my neck of the woods, the North Shore of New Orleans, St. Tammany Parish. In fact, you see in here shots of what's called the town of Covington, and you've got the St. Tammany Parish, one of the St. Tammany Parish school buses appears on here. They didn't even change the titling on the side of the bus. Interesting. It's interesting. It's an interesting look back. Some ways. This is done in 1990, so 20 some years ago. I liked it. The film opens up with this is probably my favorite Claudio Fragassi directed films. It opens up at the Louisiana State Pen, which is north of here, probably 2 hours northwest of here, and basically you've got this woman that's being executed for all these murders, but she's clearly possessed. And she passes on to the priest who's given her last rites. Basically, he's becomes kind of a drunkard and just kind of a crazy person, or at least people think he is. And he was a very good actor. The guy that played him, David Brandon. I thought he did a really good job as the priest. He's been in a number of films, though. He was in Caligula. He's done a number of films. He was really good in this. And there's another priest and a family that move into the house, the Beyond house, and of course the house is basically opens up the gates of hell. And David Brandon, the old priest, has to help the new priest resolve it. It's basically the gates of hell with a little bit of exorcist thrown into it. You got a child that's possessed in it. It's a good movie. I thought it was technically well done, unlike Troll 2. I mean, this is technically well done. I thought this was really good. I was surprised at how good. When I saw it was going to be it was a Fragassi film, I was a little worried given Troll 2, but it was good. No doubt about it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I give it a 7 out of 10. All right, that's going to do it for day 20. Appreciate you watching.